Hello everyone, in this video we're going to explore how to write a perfect answer for section B of paper 3 of the EDEXCEL English Literature A2 qualification. Now I've already gone through how to plan this response, we've already gone through what the mark scheme says we should include, so please look at that video if you require it. But let's look at what an answer looks like. So what do we do with our introduction? Well, obviously to make sure that we ensure our argument is nice and clear and kind of forceful, we want to maybe start to put in a little bit of context here again, because remember AO3 is now more of a focus here than AO4 in section A. You also want to make sure you're talking about what you will be highlighting in your argument. Your main paragraphs, again, so I'm recommending you use a very similar structure to section A, but just remember you need less of the comparison now, more of the context, and then the other way around. Remember, if you're making the comparisons, you're not necessarily getting marks explicitly, but you're still getting marks for AO1, your ability to create your argument all the way through. Full structure language needs to be included, obviously, to prove your points, but like I said, make sure you're linking in that context. Conclusion, we'll state your argument once more. You might want to say which of the texts you felt was more effective and why, and that's you being evaluative. Here's the question, and here's your introduction. During the First World War, hundreds of men were executed for desertion and cowardice despite their terrifying experiences in the trenches and ensuring mental consequences of being subjected to such conditions. It is not surprising then that poets such as Wilfred Owen and Sigrid Sassoon were keen to dispel the myth that such men were merely cowards by describing the realities of war and life in the trenches. To say that all the poems are anti-heroic is inaccurate. Early war poems such as A Volunteer by Asquith reflect the ideas of the traditional romantic canon. Similarly, heroism is also highlighted by Pope within the work Who is for the Game. However, this work explores a sense of adventure over cowardice rather than simply trying to be a brave warrior. So, argument is nice and clear. You can see I've used a little bit of context at the start there to set the tone, and I'm immediately gaining marks. That's really important. That's a skill that takes a little bit of practice, but make it nice and mechanical for yourself by the time you get into the exam. Asquith's A Volunteer is easily recognisable as a traditional patriotic war poem for several reasons. Firstly, its position at the start of the anthology means it is written before the horrifying truths about the trenches came to light. We might anticipate then the antiquated language which makes war sound so idealistic. Asquith describes a clerk with no lance broken in life's tournament. He uses a euphemism to suggest that he has no experience of war and has yet to discover the satisfaction of battle. Alternatively, Asquith is unknowingly highlighting the sense of emasculation that writers such as Owen and Sassoon express in their later work, who both come to see war as something unheroic through their own experience, context being used again. Furthermore, the reference to chivalry harkens to knights in shining armour, suggesting that men who go to war are traditionally heroic figures in medieval games, highlighting the sport of war. Furthermore, the subject of the poem escapes his unsatisfied life in a city of grey by reading with bright eyes about the gleaming eagles of the legions and the men of Agincourt. Once again, Asquith lists past heroic figures such as the Roman army to suggest that war places the once grey, suggesting boring and lifeless figure, in a position of immortality, highlighting the heroic nature of war. Furthermore, the constant use of iambic pentameter not only helps to stress words such as now, to highlight the positive impact of war on the reader and actually as a form of recruitment, but creates a meter which suggests marching, reflecting a strong, organised and heroic soldier who have gone before. In this way, Asquith likens war to a game, much like Jessie Pope's recruitment poem Who's for the Game, which encouraged men to sign up by comparing war to a football match, using the reference to sporting heroes rather than military ones. So you can see I am making a comparison like we saw in section A, but what we're doing here is making sure that I'm just creating a nice solid argument rather than getting marks of comparison now. Rather than using the same syllabic structure, Pope reverts to a shorter style in order to highlight the thrill and excitement of combat rather than highlight a sense of organisation, an order Asquith used to reassure the reader. Pope's lexical choices are far more active than Asquith's, using sporting semantic fields such as tackle and grip to reinforce the idea of taking part, rather than being on the sidelines acting in a cowardly manner. Furthermore, both poets split the structure in order to highlight the heroics of war, whereas Asquith uses the two stanza structure to demonstrate eternal heroism associated with dying for one's country. Pope uses an alternate rhyme scheme to present the sense of sights. The heroic men who participated and the cowards who want a seat in the stand. It is clear, therefore, that Asquith and Pope's poems perpetuate the heroic vision of war. Now, I might put a little more context in there for Pope, probably recommending you do so, but you can see that the structure we've applied for section A works just as well for B, but we're making sure now we're filtering in context to support our ideas. To conclude, both poets wrote their work with the same intention, to highlight the positive nature of war with the intention of recruiting men for the front line. That said, the two poets achieved that aim using heroism in slightly different ways. Pope uses it to reflect cowardice if one does not play in the game, whilst Asher uses it to create a sense of grandeur for the cause. It's clear that based on the notion of heroism, Asher's work is far more effective in this sense, due to his ability to exploit our fear of being considered unimportant and forgotten. So thank you. I hope that you're feeling important and not forgotten through the use of these videos. Well done, keep revising, good luck in your exams.